Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We made it through the week. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Oh, yeah, it's going to be another lively show today. It always is. We always bring it on this show. And, of course, it's one of the most interactive shows, if not the most interactive show in Las Vegas. We always enjoy taking your calls at 257-5396. A lot to get to today. Hour number 2 is going to be a lot of fun as well. Not to say that hour number 1 is not going to be fun, but hour 2, former 18-year NHL veteran goaltender Sean Burke's going to be joining us. He comes out here and scouts a lot of Vegas Golden Knights games, so we're going to get his thoughts on the playoffs, preview the Knights and San Jose Sharks in round 1 of the playoffs. Sean will be joining us coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Also, if you haven't heard, we got a few pretty big college basketball games coming up tomorrow. It is the Final Four, and what better person to break down the Final Four and talk some X's and O's than former NCAA coach Larry Eustace. So he'll be joining us as well as Sean Burke in hour number 2. Hour number 1, yeah, we got a lot to get to, as I mentioned that. Donald Trump and Joe Biden, some verbal spats going at it today. You know, I've been talking about this all week, about this Joe Biden, inappropriate touching, making things uncomfortable. And I've been saying it all week that I think people are making it out to be a bigger deal than it actually is. He's never been accused of sexual assault before. And if he makes someone feel uncomfortable, then okay, that behavior needs to stop. But some people on the right are making him out to be a rapist, which he is not. Has he maybe been a little bit inappropriate? Sure, I'll give it to it. And then he puts a video out this week, and basically I thought it was heartfelt. And he said, "Look, I'm here to listen to you all. Times have changed." I'm kind of paraphrasing here. And then I think it was just time to move on. But I got to tell you something, folks. Today, Joe Biden disappointed me. He really did. I want to explain to you why. I want to play this audio, and then we're going to hear Donald Trump's response, and then I'm going to give you my response. So this is Joe Biden today speaking in front of a crowd, obviously on the left. And here's what Joe Biden said, making a few jokes in regards to this inappropriate touching. Let's play that.
I just want you to know I had permission to hug Lonnie. We had permission. All along, but it's up to... By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
So there you go. I'll respond to that in a second. But let's first let our president, Mr. Donald Trump, who probably is the last person on the planet that should be talking about anything inappropriate. But here was Donald Trump's response to this. Here's a reporter asking him the question.
Exactly is offensive about Joe Biden's behavior, and are you the right messenger for that?
Yeah, I think I'm a very good messenger, and people got a kick out of it. He's going through a situation. Let's see what happens. But people got a kick. We gotta sort of smile a little bit, right?
I don't know if this is the right time to smile. I don't think there's anything funny about this. Let me start with Joe Biden. And let me be very clear on this one. Again, he's not a sexual predator. He's not a rapist. Stop it by saying, he shouldn't be running for office because he might have touched a woman on the shoulder. I've been very consistent with that opinion. With that being said, I have no idea what Joe Biden was thinking today. The last thing he should be doing right now is making jokes about this. The last thing. Does he not have people around him that would tell him that? You're about to announce that you are running for the president of the United States, regardless of whether you think you did something inappropriate or not. You got this video that came out a few days ago, not really apologizing, but saying, hey, look, maybe I have to change a little bit. Maybe I need to understand why people are uncomfortable. And I thought it was the right thing to do. Why would you joke about that now? Twice. And in the context of it, he gave one of the speakers a hug. And then there was a child on stage, and he kind of put his arm around the child. And then he makes those jokes. There's nothing about accusations like that are funny. There's nothing at all funny about that. This is a man that wants to be president of the United States. This isn't you or me. And I got to say, I was really, really disappointed. If you're going to run for president of the United States, you have to have better decision-making than that. He put that video out there. That's it. He doesn't have to talk about it anymore. And if a reporter asked him a question about it, say, look, I put that video out. I personally don't think I did anything wrong, but I'm going to, be a little bit more careful and listen to people. That's fine. He never even had to talk about it anymore. But to make jokes about it, it just makes this thing go on and on and on. And I really do believe Joe Biden made a very, very big mistake today. And I thought he was inappropriate with making jokes about it. Nothing funny about that. Nothing at all. And, it made me think that I think this guy has just a really big ego, a little bit pompous. And he thinks, you could just push something aside, make it funny. Look, you're going to lose the presidency if you make decisions like that. Forget about touching women, allegedly touching women inappropriately or making them feel uncomfortable. Regardless, you cannot make jokes about that. So the last person that I want to hear commenting on this, the last person that I want to hear talking about being inappropriate when it comes to females is Donald Trump. Yeah, do we remember, some of the things that Donald Trump has said even before he was president, besides the grab women by the P word, bragging about sexual assault? He also said it's impossible for a woman to be a perfect 10 if she's flat. Yeah, he said that on the Howard Stern show. He had sex with a porn star months after his wife had a child. Yeah, you want to talk about inappropriate. Donald Trump is the poster child for being inappropriate when it comes to any type of relationship with a woman. And then, of course, he makes that statement, and he kind of said he was poking fun at Joe Biden in regards to a tweet. You want to talk about beneath the president of the United States? Donald Trump puts on his Twitter page, apparently he has nothing better to do. He just happens to be the president. He goes on his Twitter page, and he puts this little video. It's kind of like a little parody where Biden's talking, and then there's another Biden behind him that sneaks up from behind him and grabs his shoulders and sniffs his hair. Again, for somebody like you or me, or somebody maybe that's a Republican that wants to mock Joe Biden, that's fine. Saturday Night Live, whatever the case may be, television. But for the president to post something like that, and Joe Biden responded and he said, well, are we surprised? This is what he's right. We shouldn't be surprised. This is something that Donald Trump does in his free time. He goes on Twitter and he attacks people, mocking Joe Biden for being inappropriate when, again, Donald Trump is the poster child for being inappropriate. But I am trying to be fair and I am trying to be honest. And yes, I was very, very disappointed with Joe Biden today making a couple jokes. Now, does this compare to some of the atrocious things that Donald Trump has done? Going after POWs, going after Gold Star families, hush money to a porn star while married, the comments he's made about women. No, it doesn't compare to that. I don't think anything Joe Biden has done in the last month or in his entire career would square up with any of the horrible things that Donald Trump has done in his life or has said. Let me be very clear on that. But I am still going to criticize Joe Biden because I think it is fair. In no way, shape, or form should he have made those jokes today. And I know if you go on Fox News, they're hammering it all day. And then when Donald Trump says something stupid, they don't say a word. What do you guys think about this? Do you agree with me, or do you think it's not a big deal in regards to Joe Biden? And do you also think that Donald Trump should be commenting on inappropriate behavior when it comes to females as a whole in any circumstance? I'll take your calls on that at 257-5396. Phone lines are open if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. And again, President Trump showing he has no idea what he's talking about today in regards to this 1997 immigration ruling. Apparently, he didn't realize that the namesake of the Flores court case was a 15-year-old girl. He thinks it was a judge. Those were his comments today. Again, you can't make this stuff up. This is the President of the United States. He says, Judge Flores, whoever you may be, that decision is a disaster for our country. He said it during his visit with border officials in California today. Jenny Lisette Flores, 15-year-old girl, fled war-torn El Salvador back in the 1980s, was the lead plaintiff in a legal challenge to the U.S. government's treatment of suspected illegal immigrants. The case is known as the Flores Settlement, or more properly known as the Flores versus Reno, that established that the treatment of immigrant families and children in federal custody. But, of course, Donald Trump didn't know that. Well, why would he? He's only the president of the United States. The case was settled back in 1997. One of its central provisions was the ruling that the government cannot hold children in detention centers for more than 20 days, which, by the way, I agree with. With that being said, Donald Trump today thinks this is about a judge. Judge Flores, whoever you may be, don't you think it is the responsibility of the President of the United States, if he's going to comment on any type of court decision, he knows a little history, he knows what it's about? Again, he looks like a complete buffoon. Flores was a 15-year-old girl. It's not a judge. How could can people just tap the president on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me, Mr. President, that wasn't a judge you're talking about. It was a 15-year-old girl." This is embarrassing. This is the leader of the free world, the President of the United States. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. We're talking a little bit about Joe Biden, his jokes today, which I thought were inappropriate, and then Trump flubbing the namesake of an immigration court case, and the comments that Biden and Trump made about one another today. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, if you'd like to be a part of the program, 257-5396. Let's lead off with Joe. Joe, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
Doing good, Joe. What's on your mind?
Hey, listen, you mentioned hush money, and that just sprang something in my mind, man. That's something that we should really be even more upset about, is this something that Congress created, this hush fund.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know, that's what I'm upset about,
mm-hmm.
is that they're taking our tax dollars, putting it aside to use it to pay people off so they don't say anything to anybody, and then they get hundreds of thousands of, maybe even millions of dollars. We don't know, because they as soon as that thing came up on the radar, they shot it all down by saying, "Oh, we're going to go ahead and create a ethics for sexual harassment or."
Disgusting, Joe. The first thing that comes to mind to me is utterly disgusting. The fact that there are people that we still don't know about. There are people in Congress that have sexually, have done whatever to men or women, and that there's this fund set up, hush money. It's no better to me than what Bill O'Reilly or all those people did at Fox News, and then they paid all them hush money, and it's no better than what Donald Trump did. And Donald Trump didn't even, we're talking about most likely sex with a porn star. He tried to keep her quiet. That really didn't work. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. It shows you the day and age and some of these politicians, both on the right and the left, that are serving us, and it shows you how dirty it is, and it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. It's ridiculous, and I don't understand why nobody really is talking about that part. Because this is our money.
Mm-hmm.
This is our tax dollars that they're taking, putting aside, and saying, well, if anybody comes up with any allegations, we'll just shut them up by giving them the taxpayers' money.
First of all, it should be, it should be investigated, and if they are guilty, the money should come out of their own pockets. A lot of these politicians have enough money anyway. If they did something wrong, they should be held personally responsible. I also believe the public should know about it, especially if you're an elected official. What would happen, Joe, if that was you or me? People would find out about this. Our job would find out about it. We'd have to show up in court. And if we lost, we'd have to put up the money ourselves. We probably would lose our job. We'd lose, whatever good name that we had would be gone. So why should it be any different with these politicians?
Well, first and foremost, because they're in that leadership capacity and we put them in place,
right,
and we're paying them with our money. That's our tax dollars. They're accountable to us.
I agree, Joe. Good to hear from you, and you make some very, very valid points. Thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. Number to call, 257-5396. If you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. We are talking about Joe Biden making a couple jokes today in front of a crowd about inappropriate touching. Made a couple jokes about that I thought were completely over the top and not cool. Not cool, Joe. Didn't show a very good being a very good decision maker by doing that. Also talking about Donald Trump and the immigration situation, saying that we don't have any room for you, and talking to some that might be seeking asylum. He visited California today. I noticed that he didn't visit with any kids. He didn't visit with any illegals or maybe some children that are struggling right now. He went to the wall. What does that say about Donald Trump? Also has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to this immigration case. Totally flubbing that up, the name of the immigration court case, thinking that it was a judge when it was a 15-year-old girl. Give us a buzz, 257-5396, the number to call. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Marge. Marge, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm good. I stated on Tuesday evening that the mark of a man is to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And then show by action it was meant.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, he didn't mean it by the actions that we saw today.
I agree, and I'm not even sure he really apologized.
Yeah, and in fact, he made it worse. the fact that he brought that child up, you're bringing a child into a situation like this. I think that's terrible. And on Tuesday, we found out about a woman that he put his hand on her thigh, which is a little bit more severe than, some of the others that have come forward.
Right.
So, and then Trump stating that he was a good messenger with his video.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Come on. This is another inappropriate action by the President of the United States. In fact, I think he made the whole thing worse by getting into it with Biden,
I agree. I would, as I said, I'm not going to call Donald Trump, Bill Cosby, but when it comes to inappropriate behavior, Donald Trump is probably one of the last people on the planet that I want to, I want him talking and preaching to us about that stuff. But you're right, Marge. Look, as you know, I go on this show every day, and I'm very critical of Donald Trump. I'm critical of a lot of things, and I'm critical of Donald Trump. I am extremely disappointed in Joe Biden. Extremely disappointed. You want to be the president of the United States. Don't get me wrong. I would rather Joe Biden be the president than Donald Trump for a lot of different reasons. But you want to be the president and the leader of the free world. When somebody says you have acted inappropriately, it's never the right thing to do to make jokes about it.
No.
And I am shocked that he did that today, Marge.
No.
What was your first reaction when you saw that?
It's insincere. He says he's apologized and he has that video. But like I said the other day, it's the action that he do following an apology. And to me, it was like, okay, well, you just diminished anything you tried to do with that video that you thought was an apology. Yeah,
I agree, Marge. Good to hear from you. Thank you for the phone call.
You're welcome.
Always appreciate it.
Bye.
257-5396, the number to call again, 257-5396. The president, as I mentioned, was in California today and was talking about, obviously, the issue of illegal immigration, talking about the issue of whether it's an emergency or not. Here's the comment he made today in regards to that. He said, in regards to people that are trying to cross the border that are seeking asylum, and keep in mind, everybody has a different reason. And yes, it is breaking the law when you cross the border. In no way, shape, or form am I saying just because you are seeking asylum and you're in fear of your life, you're not breaking the law coming to this country. I've never said that before. But any logical person would understand that a lot of these people that are doing this are doing it for not the wrong reasons. They don't want to hurt Americans. They want to either save the lives of themselves or their children or their loved ones. I do, and the stats back me up on this one. The majority of these people coming into this country illegally are not bad people. Stats just show that. Are there some bad people coming in here? Absolutely. Here's what Donald Trump said today. He said, the system is full. We can't take you anymore. Whether it's asylum, whether it's anything you want, it's illegal immigration. Can't take you anymore. Can't take you. Our country is full. Can't take you anymore. I'm sorry. So turn around. That's the way it is. Is that the way we want our president to be talking? Keep in mind, this is the same man who said these people coming across the border illegally, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. The president seems to want to constantly demonize illegals coming into this country, and he did it again today. And he seems to do it on a regular basis. That's not going away. And he seems to make the claim that they're building a new wall. That's also not what's happening. They are making improvements at the wall. They are making, replacements. They're not building a brand new wall, but the president, when he speaks on a regular basis, it would lead you to believe that that's it. The wall is being built. The new wall is being built. Not true. That's not what's happening. But these are the comments that he makes on a regular basis. And they're not factually accurate. And when has Donald Trump ever spoken, forget about illegals, when has Donald Trump ever spoken and you said, wow, that was really heartfelt? Wow. He's really talking from the heart here. He's really being genuine. I can't think of any moment where he has done that. And here he is again demonizing illegals coming into this country. Some of these people are not good people. Some of these people are criminals. The majority of them are not bad people. But the president says, turn around. Sorry, that's the way it is. That's not how we're going to get things done in this country. That's not how you're going to get Democrats on the other side to reach across the aisle and to work with the president. That's not how it's going to work. But this is the man. This is Donald Trump. This is the way he talks. And I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I do not agree with what Joe Biden did today. I thought it was, I guess the best word that I could use is very, very disappointing. You can't make jokes when you're in a little bit of a controversy in regards to women that have come out that have said that He's touched them inappropriately. You can't joke around about that. Joe Biden made a mistake today. Donald Trump seems to make mistakes like that every single day. Every single day. He's demonizing illegals. He says something that might not be very racially sensitive. He demeans women. He might call someone a horseface one day. He demeans people that at one time he said were great people, like Michael Cohen, who, by the way, says he has more dirt on Donald Trump. What do you guys think about that? Are you okay with the president of the United States demonizing illegals, which he seems to do on a regular basis? We'll take your phone calls on that at 257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. The president also went on to say, I see some of our biggest opponents over the last 2 days that have said it really is an emergency. I have absolutely no idea who he's talking about when it comes to that. He went on to say they can't believe what's happening. Part of it is because of the fact that the country's doing so well. Part of it is a scam. People want to come in. They shouldn't be coming in. They shouldn't be coming in. I have no idea who the president's talking about when he says Democrats are saying it to be an emergency, because the majority of the Democrats out there that I hear are saying it's quite the opposite of that. Again, the number to call, 257-5396. Let's go to Kelly. Kelly, thank you for calling in. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, Kelly. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, I would have to say I agree with Trump. I know, shocking, right?
That is a shocker.
I mean, we are full. I mean, literally are all these little, listen to this. I mean, and let me just say my piece, and then you can go off on me. But all these, remember a year ago, all the Democrats were like, they're in cages. This is inhumane, and all this. And, all the facilities are filled to capacity that they've been literally doing catch and release now. They literally grab them and let them go. I mean, there's nothing they can do. All the places are filled. So that's what he's saying. We're full. We can't. Now, I'm sure Trump, if Congress gave him the money to, they can build bigger facilities, provide doctors, judges that need to process these cases, then we wouldn't be, quote unquote, full. But they're tying his hands.
All right. Well, Kelly, let me stop you here real quick and say that's not exactly what he said. And every single time Donald Trump says something dumb, for example, these people coming into this country, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people, then people like you just want to say, well, this is what the president meant. This is what he meant to say. And I'm tired of people saying that. I go by exactly what the president said. And the president didn't mention any of these facilities in that quote. That's not what he said, Kelly. If he spoke eloquently like you did, or even close to that, and if he said, look, here's why we are full. Our detention centers are full. We need more money from Congress to make these detention centers larger. We can't accommodate all these. But that's not what he said, Kelly.
I know, but see, I listened to everything that happened today at the border. And it wasn't just, him talking. You had all these, you had Mark Meadows was there from Congress. Mm-hmm. You had, the Border Patrol chiefs and everyone. They're the ones who, that's why he didn't have to say it, because all the people that were there already said those things.
But you're the president of the United States. You have to be very clear. Regardless of if somebody said it in a speech before you, you are the commander-in-chief, Kelly, and I guess that's where we'll disagree. And guess what? I don't necessarily disagree with you with what you just said, but the president needs to make that clear, and he doesn't do that. He doesn't even know what he's talking about when it comes to this immigration court case, okay? He's talking about a judge in regards to this case, and it was named after a 15-year-old girl. He doesn't do his homework. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He watches Fox and Friends every morning, and he doesn't even know about the case. That's a problem. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, thank you for calling in. How are you?
Oh, my God, you are a piece of work.
What does that mean?
That means that everything that's coming out of your mouth is straight from the talking points of the left.
Be specific. Be specific. Where am I wrong? Be specific.
Okay. It's not what he said. It's not what he should say. Kelly, he didn't say that.
Be specific. I just read a quote, what he said, Anthony. What the hell are you talking about? I just read the quote. Where am I wrong? Okay. Where am I wrong? No, it's not okay. Where am I wrong? Where am I wrong? Be specific.
Answer?
Well, you're not answering. You just accused me of being on the left, which, by the way, I'm not. You're wrong. Okay? Where was I factually wrong? I read his damn quote. Are you stupid? I read his quote.
So you're going to start calling me names.
Yeah, you're stupid. Yeah, you are stupid. I read his quote. You could laugh. You could have that timid little laugh. Tell me exactly where I was factually wrong. Answer the question. Answer the question. You're the problem. You're the problem. You're an idiot. You're the problem. You're dumb. What do you think about? No, you're an idiot. You're dumb. Can I call you Tony? Tony the moron? How about where am I wrong? Where am I wrong? Answer the question. Where am I wrong? Answer the question. Where am I wrong? Answer the question. I've given you 3 minutes to answer the question. Why are you listening to my show and why are you calling in if I'm a moron, you dummy?
Because you are.
Get off the show, you jerk. I just read the quote, and you didn't come up with one specific thing. Not one thing. If you are going to accuse me of being the problem, being on the left, then finish the sentence by being specific and something that I said that is not factually accurate, you dope. I read the quote that Donald Trump said today, the actual word-for-word quote. So because I read the words that Donald Trump says, you accuse me of being on the left, you dope. People like you shouldn't be allowed to vote. People like you do not have a high enough IQ to vote. Honestly, there should be a law in place so idiots like you, Anthony, are not allowed to vote. You are a deplorable. When Donald Trump said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they would still vote for me, he was talking about you, Anthony. You deplorable dope. That's my new term today, deplorable dope. Anthony is a deplorable dope. That's who he is. I don't mind if people call me names. I don't mind if they come after me. In fact, I welcome it, but you better finish the sentence with a fact. I read the exact quote, and I also started the show going after Joe Biden, you dope. It's called being fair. You ever heard that word? Can you spell the word fair, you dope? Take a quick break. I'll be back right after this. The number to call, 257-5396. You're listening to The Vegas Take. All right, welcome back. It is The Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on a Friday. Glad you could join us. I opened up the show criticizing Joe Biden. I didn't think he should have been joking around in regards to allegedly inappropriately making women feel uncomfortable, so on and so forth. And then I criticized Donald Trump. I read an exact quote that he said. He did not say that our detention centers were full. He said our country is full. It is the duty of the President of the United States to be specific. If he said that, I would not be criticizing the quote. And then we had a gentleman that called in who I called a few names. I don't think I called him a buffoon, but he is one. And he called in and he immediately said that I was way on the left, because that's what many Trump supporters will do. If you criticize Trump in any way, shape, or form, by the way, I'm right, they automatically label you to the left. He also talked about this immigration court case today, and he attacked the judge when it had nothing to do with the judge's name. It was actually a 15-year-old girl, not a federal judge, the Flores court case. Again, the president completely doesn't know what he's talking about. I only go by exactly what he says. I'm not paraphrasing. I'm not making things up. 257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. Your thoughts on Joe Biden, his comments today, Donald Trump's comments, his visit at the border in California. We'll take your calls, 257-5396. Cameron, you've been waiting patiently on hold. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
What's on your mind, Cameron?
I just wanted to say that, you know, the only one that's actually doing anything about these problems is Donald Trump. The Republicans don't, and neither do the liberals, Democrats, or whoever you want to say. But Trump is the only one. Now, you might disagree with his tactics. You know, some of the things he says is such, like off the cuff, and and sometimes it's taken wrong, and sometimes he's just kind of jabbing people, and sometimes he makes mistakes.
I agree, Cameron.
The thing is he's the only one.
All right. Well, let me address that, Cameron, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Obviously, we have an issue at the border. You would agree. Obviously, our politicians in the past have not done enough to solve the problem. I will agree with you. And I am not going to go one side here. I'm going to say Republicans and Democrats. They have not done enough to address this issue. So we agree so far, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Here's where I have a problem as far as this issue is concerned. First of all, he said Mexico was going to pay for the wall. We both know that was a lie, and he campaigned on a lie, and that's never going to happen. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And he was just doing that because he's trying to get the biggest deal he can.
And that might be true, Cameron, but I'm sure we would also agree that probably not the best thing to do to lie to try to get what you want, right? That's what a child would do.
Well, that's not necessarily a lie. I think he tried to, he just couldn't do it.
Okay, so if he campaigned and he said, look, I'm going to try to get Mexico to pay for the wall, I wouldn't have had a problem with that, Cameron. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? It's not what he said. And this is my problem, and I'm not saying, and you seem like a smart guy, Cameron. I'm not saying, that, I don't know what was in the guy's head, but here's my problem. A lot of Trump supporters, it just happened, Cameron, last segment. I'm reading a quote from Donald Trump, right? I know, you know what I'm going to say.
Well, I'm let's say I support Trump, but I'm not a Trump supporter. I have a friend who's, she basically a fanatic.
Uh-huh.
The thing is to me, Trump is the first president that has been in office that is actually trying to do something and trying to get something done.
You're talking about in regards to the border wall, obviously.
I'm talking about everything.
Well, I think that's
economy,
a very. I don't agree with that.
He was the one that is taking care of the problem. Everyone else just.
So you think he's taking care of the problem of the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? You think he's handling that with the billionaires and the CEOs of all these Fortune 500 companies? You think he's doing a great job with that?
He wasn't. The fanatics didn't put him in office to do that. They put him in office to fix the economy.
What do you think about division? You think he's done a good job in helping to bring people together instead of tearing people apart?
Everybody is got dirty hands on both sides about division.
Yeah, I understand, but
in fact,
he's not helping.
I think the Democrats are even worse. The reason is because the Democrats and the liberals, they don't know who they have with Trump.
I'm not sure the Republicans do either.
That will actually work and help Democrats get their things passed, but they don't want to do it.
All right. Well, we're going to have
to.
I hear you, Cameron. We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. To say that President Trump is the only one, if you want to talk about immigration, I'll hear you out. But to think that he's the only one that's doing everything to save the country, he's not the next Messiah, it's not true. I completely disagree with that premise. 257-5396. Doug, you're next. What's on your mind?
Just a couple quick points, and then I'll hang up.
No problem.
One, regarding the border emergency. The country of Jordan, which has a population of 10 million, for the last decade didn't turn their back on the asylum seekers from the Mideast region and say these are all terrorists. They let them in. They let in, if I'm not mistaken, close to 2 million asylees with a country of population of 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
The other point that I want to make is...
Okay, but hold on. I don't want to forget that first point. I'll give you a chance to make your second point. That's a completely different scenario. Those were different people and a completely different circumstance. You cannot compare that to this situation.
Well, I think it's a fair comparison.
No, different people.
A lot of the people that are coming from Mexico, and particularly the Central American countries south of Mexico, truly are asylees and truly are...
Okay, but we don't have terrorists coming into this country, do we?
No, they don't. They didn't view them as terrorists. Jordan didn't view these people as terrorists.
Have we had a terrorist attack? Have we had a terrorist attack in this country by an illegal? Yes or no?
No, and that's
exactly.
I'm not saying.
Well,
that.
That's what I'm saying. That's a different circumstance. There were terrorists that got into that country that committed terrorism. We haven't had that in this country, Doug. It's a different circumstance, and these are different people. The facts back that up.
Entirely. I'm giving Jordan credit. I'm saying they didn't turn the people away. They let them in. They didn't just start labeling them as dangers the way Trump does, the way he's created this.
Okay, so you agree.
We can't let them in.
Okay, and I apologize if I misrepresented what you were trying to say. I'm not perfect. Like Donald Trump, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes from time to time. So what you're trying to say, Doug, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're giving Jordan credit for that, and you agree with me that you think Donald Trump is demonizing these people, correct?
Of course. Instead of doing the humanitarian,
right.
What I would expect the person that's in the office, Oval Office, to do.
Doug, you understand. You understand, Doug, why I'm so defensive, because 9 out of 10 people that call in think Donald Trump is the next Messiah. You understand, right?
Of course, and you can understand what I'm trying to say.
Doug, I absolutely understand, and I apologize if I kind of misrepresented what you were saying there to start the call. I could not agree with you more. Good to hear from you, Doug. Thank you very much. I believe Ira is our next caller at 257-5396. Ira, thank you so much for calling in. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, first I want to say is, Brian, I really like your show.
Thank
and
you.
seem like a fair and level-headed guy.
I
and
appreciate
go both ways
that.
with this.
Thank you.
And I know we're talking about Biden and what he said and Trump. I just like to say my opinion about food.
Sure, go for it.
So the way I look at it, both sides are, act like kids. They tell each other names and stuff like go back and forth.
Right.
And Trump, I mean, he's his worst enemy. He just keep his mouth shut, don't text, just do what he wants to do and keep his mouth shut. And Democrats do what you're supposed to do. Work together to help us instead of going back and forth. They say one thing, they go back and forth saying another thing. Just take care of America.
Right.
Take care of the vets. Take
Sure.
care of the elderly. Take care of the homeless. Most important, I'm telling you, this is my thing. Most important is education. Don't you understand that our kids are our future, and we have to take care of the kids?
Ira, can I ask you something? Can I ask you something there?
More money to the school.
Would you? Speaking of education, would you let your kids go to Trump University?
No, I wouldn't.
I didn't think you were going to say yes on that one, Ira. Ira, I could not agree with you more, my friend. Thank you so much for calling in, as you eloquently stated, and I appreciate the call. You are absolutely right. They should be focused on the task at hand, right? Getting things done, getting policy, getting things passed. Don't tell me Donald Trump is doing that. He's not. 257-5396, the number to call again, 257-5396. Ron is next. Ron, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, Ron, how you doing? It's Ron from Vegas. I'm still waiting on my beer, brother. I do like you. We are opposites, but this I have to agree with you on because I am a conservative. I told you about that. And we have great names. What can I say? So, and when someone tries to call you a moron, just say, hey, you want more of me? More of Ron. Great.
Well, Ron, can I ask? Yeah. So the guy who called in last segment, right? He calls in. I read, and look, I don't make stuff up on this show. Okay, I'm not fake news. I speak the facts. I criticized Joe Biden at the beginning of the show. I read an exact quote from Donald Trump. I'm not making it up. It's an exact quote. It's what he said today. And this lunatic calls in and he says, you're a lefty, you're making stuff up. I don't make anything up on this show. I certainly have my opinions, but I have my opinion based on I use exactly what Donald Trump gives me. He gives me ammo. It's like I have this rifle and I don't have any bullets, and Donald Trump just shows up at the door every day at the radio station and gives me all these rounds of bullets. I mean, and we're going hunting. I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah, he does. He does. For me, he's kind of like, the punk that I gotta love. But you do have a point, but I do kindly want to make this point, and
sure.
I don't know if you'll agree with me because I'll like you anyways. It doesn't really matter because we're cool people.
I appreciate that. Go ahead.
When you mentioned, he's not making an effort to bring the country together. Yes and no, but then again, Obama divided our country.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. See, dude, you're awesome. I just like you, even though you're an opposite. I would love to sit in on your show and just. Well, we'll get a chance to meet, Ron, because we're going to have some listener appreciation nights, maybe a little happy hour. We're going to get that stuff going coming up really soon, Ron. But I appreciate the call. And by the way, I'm glad you mentioned Obama when it comes to this stuff, because I thought he did a very poor job as far as racial relations go. I think he divided this country among race. I think he did a very poor job, as I think Donald Trump is doing a poor job. We need somebody in office that is going to bring people together. And I know that is a cliche, but it is the 100% honest truth. Obama, I don't think he did that. Now, I don't think he was as divisive as Trump, but when it came to race relations, he certainly was. And I was very, very, very disappointed in that. Let's go to John. John, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you? Did we lose John on line 5? I believe we lost somebody on line 5 again. What a shocker. It happens every day. 257-5396, the number to call again, 257-5396. Let's go to Dave. Dave, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Yeah.
What's up, Dave?
Well, on your Trump quote, there was a soundbite played when you were off the air just a minute ago during your commercial.
Yes.
And he said that the facilities were full. All the facilities were full. They couldn't take anybody else.
My understanding is that he made that statement hours later. The quote that I have is what he said when he was at the border, when he talked about the country is full. That's what he said. He said, can't take you anymore. I'm sorry. So turn around. That's the way it is. The country is full. If you're the president of the United States and you make a statement like that, you have to be specific and you have to talk about the facilities. He did not do that in that speech, and that's why I'm talking about it.
Well, I didn't hear the whole speech. I didn't see the speech. I was working. I just heard different sound bites today on the radio about what was happening. and a few things that popped up on Instagram.
I understand. And you know what, Dave, I'm trying to be fair here. And if he said that in this statement, then I would not have had a problem with it except for this. Stop it with this.
I don't know when he said it, before or after.
It was after.
I've been to a couple of his rallies, and I know that he'll go through his talking points, and then he'll breeze back through them again, only he'll leave out little sections, just hit the high points.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, let me ask you this. You've been to some of his...
I don't think he's the next Messiah, by no means, but he's a rough and tumble New York guy, and he doesn't care which way the political wind blows, and nobody's going to buy him off.
All right.
That's why I voted for him.
You know what, Dave? That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Let me ask you this: when he goes after Gold Star families, when he goes after POWs, when he goes after people on a daily basis, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a little bit of the New York street stuff.
See, I disagree with you, Dave.
I don't care for it.
Dave, how could you say that?
I've never been a politically correct person myself.
It's okay not to be politically correct, Dave, but here's my problem with what you just said. You're entitled to your opinion. Let me tell you something. The majority of New Yorkers don't go after POWs and don't go after service members. That's what our president did. That's what Donald Trump did. He went after John McCain. The majority of people that are not politically correct doesn't mean you have to attack everybody on a regular basis and make yourself out to be a fool. That's what Donald Trump does. So I appreciate the call, but we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. I believe Lorraine is next. Lorraine, thank you for calling in. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to commend you on a comment that you made with that comment about to that other caller that called in.
Yes.
Absolutely. Everybody should have an IQ test in order to have a voter ID card.
Right.
Pretty much would eliminate anybody that's coming over the border.
Yes. Well, I mean, I look.
There
I think,
you go.
I think.
Let them in,
yeah.
but they're
All right.
not allowed to vote because they probably wouldn't be able to pass an IQ test.
Wait, what are you saying? That illegals don't have a high IQ?
Probably not. They're uneducated.
Lorraine, are you a racist? Are you a racist?
I've been born in Compton.
I don't care where you were born.
The smartest people.
So you're saying because you are illegal, you're not smart?
People. I have a girlfriend that has waited
what?
for 3 years, spent huge amount of money, waited her turn in line.
I can't believe what you just said.
Because she finally gets to go and be a citizenship.
Okay, so what?
Now,
what does that have to do? So you're telling me that you know the intel? Hold on. You're telling me you know.
If they don't have the
You're telling Lorraine, I get what you just said.
Through the proper
okay,
venue.
Right. So you're telling me you know. All right, let me know when I can talk because it's your show, not mine. You're telling me that you know every single illegal's IQ that comes into this country.
No, I didn't say that. I said let them take an IQ test.
That's also not what you said, though. You also made the insinuation that a lot of these people coming in have low IQs. Did you not?
A lot of these people probably wouldn't be able to vote.
Okay, well, you know what? That's just a racist comment, Lorraine. I'm just going to call it what it is. I think that is an extremely racist comment. Just because someone is brown and just because someone comes from another area or country and just because they may want to seek asylum does not mean they are dumb. Does not mean they don't have an IQ. What about your president? What do you think his IQ is? I bet, Lorraine, you think Donald Trump is brilliant, right? But all the illegals coming to this country that are, coming in here, they're all ignorant, right? God, give me a break. You know what I want? I want every single person that makes a dumb comment like that to take an IQ test or you could leave the country. What do you think about that? Let's go to Chris. Chris, thanks for calling in. How are you? Chris, can you hear me? Oh, we lost Chris. That's too bad. That's all right. Let's move on to the next caller. We have enough callers here. Let's go to Kathy. Kathy, thank you for calling in. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am befuddled, Kathy, by that last caller insinuating that if you are illegal, you must have a low IQ.
Well, I think what she meant is that, we want high IQ. We don't want any illegals to come in. Put it that way.
Okay, but that's not what she said, Kathy. And in regards to Donald Trump, this is what Trump supporters do. I read a quote, okay? I read a quote, and then they say, well, this is what I think he meant. I go by what you say. What you say is how you feel. It's kind of like when Mel Gibson. It's kind of like. Can I make it
rigid on it?
Well,
I mean,
I'm not being rigid. I'm reading exactly what he said.
What President Trump has done for especially the dark community or the blacks. I mean, he's done prison reform. He has had black teenagers at the White House.
But what does that have to do?
Special events.
How many African Americans are working for him in the White House?
Doesn't show it.
How many African Americans are working for him in the White House, if we want to go down that road, Kathy? How many African Americans are working in his administration? If you want to make him out.
Why does it have to be so?
You just said it yourself.
Poignant?
You just said it yourself. You said he has teens that come in, African American teens. I'm not sure.
It was for an event.
So what? How many people work there that are African American? If we want to make him out to be this, loving African Americans, how many African Americans work for the guy?
I do not know.
Well, I know that, and
I don't think that's
of course
important.
You don't. Well,
it's what he's doing for the American people, the public.
What? I mean, you just brought up those things yourself, Kathy. That's what's.
Yes, he's done well for them, but it doesn't get reported.
Okay, so what policies besides the prison reform has he put in place that you think has desperately helped African Americans? I'd love to hear.
Well, he's killed a lot of the Obama regulations where businesses can thrive better.
Right.
That's why we have a low unemployment rate, and he's
all right, Kathy. Unfortunately,
given us a tax.
Kathy, unfortunately, I'm up against a hard break. Otherwise, I would love to hear you out. Try to call back again sometime. But unfortunately, as I said, I'm up against a break and I'm up against the clock. I cannot believe the woman who called in that says illegals coming into this country, many of them have a low IQ. That's something that Donald Trump would say, surprising and shocking. But I guess maybe I shouldn't be shocked. Former NHL goaltender Sean Burke coming up next. Talk a little Vegas Golden Knights. When we come back, you're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.